Illinois 88, Purdue 80 on a Friday night. Very entertaining game at the State Farm Center. We've said this all throughout the year. I feel like in a bunch of Purdue recaps because they always play on Fridays. But I hate the Friday games as far as our turnaround go on these videos because it feels like it happened like a week ago at this point. And we're
Hmm.
recording this first thing Monday morning, days after this happened. But I look, it ended up being a really fun weekend with a lot of entertaining things in college hoops. This was a great game, though. One of my favorite games to watch of the weekend. I thought you saw good things from both sides. Illinois with a furious comeback late. They were down 10 points with 11 minutes left in this game and just were pretty awesome on both ends for the final 11 minutes to storm back, take the lead. Kasparis Yakashonis with a humongous shot step back three to give Illinois their lead late in this game. But Trey White and Will Riley both with 20 plus points. Will Riley had 22 and 4 assists. Trey White, 20 points, 9 rebounds in 35 minutes. Colin Boswell was great. Tom Ivisic was great. All five Illinois starters were in double figures. And then on Purdue's side, you had Braden Smith once again 1 rebound away from a triple double. He played all 40 minutes in this game, finished with 18 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds. Trey Kaufman-Renn had 29 points and 7 rebounds. The Purdue Stars absolutely starred for them, and they even got some good stuff from role players. CJ Cox and Jakari Harris combined for 15 points. So I feel like coming out of this, both teams did their thing. Ultimately, Illinois, who was a slight favorite at home, ended up winning a coin flip game at home because they made the clutch plays late and Braden Smith did not. But is that your interpretation as well? This was kind of just a good game from both sides and could have gone either way. In the end, Illinois got it done.
Yeah, I think Purdue got out to a slight lead at a certain point in that second half. Illinois was able to make a run, and this came down to the last 5 minutes of the game, and Illinois players all made plays, and Purdue players did not. Braden Smith missed some pretty good looks at the end of the game. Trey Kaufman-Renn had the turnover, a really good steal by I think it was Will Riley in that spot. Just being having quick hands in that area, and then have we tried to work in Yakashonis as step back yak in any form?
We have not.
How have we gotten to March 10th and we're just coming up with step back yak?
Yeah, that's unacceptable from
That's
our
on
end.
me. Honestly, I hand up. That's completely on me. But look, this not to put this simply, but I think that Illinois players, mainly that five, Yakashonis, and just every guy in general, I think made more plays in that last 5 minute stretch than Purdue players made. And it's crazy that, not crazy, but it's it's very impressive that Illinois was able to do this. Um, and they were able to get performances from, I think, all of their starters in this game, right? I think it's crazy to me that Trey White was collecting like DMPs in like 14 minutes a game and stuff like that. And this last 5 game stretch he's been on, even though there was the big loss at Duke, he's been like sensational, like 16 and 5, 14 and 2, 19 and 11 last game against Michigan, gives you 20 and 9 in this game, hits three threes. He's been, I think, a very good chess piece for Brad to kind of move into the starting line or get back into the rotation, get back in the starting lineup with Will Riley. And I think those guys made a lot of big plays down the stretch of this game. And you look across the board, all the starters were very productive. Colin Boswell and Yakashonis combined for like 2 or 3 turnovers in this game, so they're able to take care of the ball for a team in Purdue that has shown they can force them this year in the Big Ten. So a really good win for Illinois, given the style it happened as well, because they were down in this game and it looked like Purdue was kind of gonna get across the finish line and once again win a champagne. And the Illini and step back yak said no.
Yeah. Thought this was a good Brad Underwood game. Did you pick up on that at all?
It there was some in-game adjustments in that second half that I think did work out in Brad's favor. And not to do the whole coach versus coach thing, but I do think there was moments of this game that Paint stuck with some guys a little bit too long, or maybe did use a timeout on a run that I think hurt them. While on the other hand, I thought that Brad did all the right things with who he had in the game, when they had, and what they were doing.
Yeah. So Couple things. There are Illinois fans watching this, and probably Purdue fans that maybe follow me on Twitter and are like, "That's not what you said on Twitter." Greg, what are you doing right now? Because I tweeted like midway through the second half when Purdue had like a 10-point lead. Painter is stuffing Underwood in the locker right now because I thought for the first 30 minutes he did for the most part. And look, the reality is in this series, Brad Underwood has consistently lost the head to head to Matt Painter. If you were to ask me what I think of both coaches, I would tell you I think they're both phenomenal coaches in very different ways. I think Payne is a genius, X's and O's wise. And I think Brad Underwood is a great roster builder, good motivator, a guy who instills toughness in his team, but not a guy that necessarily schematically is going to scheme his team into wins. Um, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's sort of how I would frame their strengths and weaknesses as coaches. And more often than not, when they've gone head to head, Painter has owned this battle when both teams have been good. For 30 minutes, I thought that was happening again because for the first 30 minutes, to me, Illinois didn't have the answers defensively. TKR was abusing them. TKR was being single covered by Benham Rickhouse for stretches of this game when Tom was on the bench. And he was just getting uncontested layups. He was getting whatever he wanted. Things were too easy on Braden early in the game, in my opinion. There just was not much resistance from the Illinois defense on the Purdue superstars. Then you flip it offensively. Painter was running some incredible things that just worked repeatedly. He started spamming that inverted pick and roll in the second half where he was getting TKR downhill to his right with Braden as the screener. He's done that periodically this season, but I felt like he was going to the well a lot in this game. And anytime it would get to a point where Brad would start to, oh, that's what they're running, they would flip it and run a different action. And it just felt like Paint was two steps ahead, two plays ahead of Underwood the entire game for the first 30 minutes. That's how Purdue built a 10-point lead. And then in the final 10 minutes, it all flipped. And Brad made adjustments that worked. And that's not something we have always seen from him. But in crunch time in this game, he came out of the under four timeout, doubling Trey Kaufman-Renn for the first time all game. And it confused the hell out of Purdue. They executed it. TKR got nothing easy. They scrambled and closed out on shooters. It ended up forcing guys like CJ Cox to make plays late in spots where he didn't necessarily want to. And it just worked. And I don't know if he was saving it for the final 4 minutes or not, if it was a desperation move, whatever. It worked. It was the right time to do it. And it was just great. And then on the flip side, to nitpick at Painter here, who I thought coached a stellar game, like I said, for most of it, he wore his guys into the ground again. And it's a mix because Braden played 40 minutes, and by the end of this game, he clearly had no legs. But at the same time, I'm seeing Purdue fans that when Purdue had a 10-point lead and Paint goes to some weird subs, Purdue fans are like, you can't have that lineup on the floor, which makes sense to me. Like, oh, why was Rally Burgess in the game for 5 minutes? He's in the game trying to get TKR a breather. That's what's going on here because this team has no depth. And if you ride TKR and Braden down that much, they are going to struggle in crunch time the way that they have in the last 7 games.
Right.
So,
Especially because like not to downplay the effort that TKR puts forward, but a lot of how TKR gets his is Braden's got to get him in spots. So he's got to get himself in spots. He's got to get TKR in spots. Not taking away because they also just post up TKR like they do it all the time. But I mean, Braden played all 40 minutes of this game, and those 3-point shots at the end, they were really good looks, and they just looked like they were short or a little bit off. He didn't have that little bit at the end there.
every single one was front rim.
Yeah,
And it's a 3-shot sample size, and he hit the fourth one before it to give Purdue a lead again. Like, it's not like he wasn't hitting great shots and wasn't spectacular in this game. But when you're missing every single shot short in the final 3 minutes of a game you played 40 minutes in, it's not hard to draw a conclusion. Like, you were a little bit gassed by the end of the game. That's what happens when you lose your legs a little bit. So, but I don't know what Paint should do because again, I feel like it's a mix of like, oh, he tried to get them rest and now everyone's mad about his subs. And if he doesn't sub, everyone's going to be mad his guys aren't worn down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also think you could have asked for a little bit. Like Fletch was really good in this game. He had 14 points. But I once again the credit to Illinois. I thought, but well, actually, I'll ask you this: with Fletch's like 3 point volume and his volume in general, do you think that was just a good job by Illinois just running him off the line?
Once again, I thought Fletch had some he could have taken that he
Yeah,
didn't. He was 0 for
because that's how
2, and
that's
I
how that's how I feel watching it. I just wanted to double check and because I understand that Fletch, he's not just a player that he can hit that little pull up, right? He can hit that little mid range coming off a curl, but I don't think there should ever be a game where Fletcher Lawyer has 2 3 point attempts.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that is what the Illinois defense does though. They limit 3-point attempts and force twos. So I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. But yeah, Fletch just to me every game it feels like he almost over relies on putting it off the floor when he could just take some tough catch and shoots. And look, at the same time, he was 4 for 5 from 2-point range in this game. He got to the free throw line 8 times. So it's not like bad things were happening when he put it on the floor in this
Right.
game. But yeah, still something I would like to see more volume from. How surprised were you that Brad went to the doubles late? Because he gets a lot of shit for not making in-game adjustments, and that was a very tactical in-game adjustment at the right time that won them this game.
I mean, I wasn't because they were getting TKR was sauteing them. Like he was giving TKR was giving them so much work. Like I'm talking like spin, come here, like eat, like just he getting absolutely whatever they want. He getting absolutely whatever he wanted, and you had to do something about it because he was going to. It was gonna get ugly quick. And I thought the doubles threw him off a little bit. Like he had the turnover late. If you do got a nitpick, like there was TKR was eating, but he did miss a good amount of those like little floater push shots that he does kind of late too. Maybe his legs weren't as much there as others, but you can't really nitpick at anything he did because he was, like I said, frying them boys for most of all of this game. But I thought it was a good adjustment by Brad, given the situation and given who you had to play, because you can't leave Benjamin on TKR 1-on-1. It was absolute food.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I give Brad credit for calling that shot when he did because I feel like that's something time and time again we haven't seen him do, and it flustered the Purdue offense late. So, when am I going to learn about Will Riley?
I mean, now's a good time if you'd like.
You want to educate me on Will Riley again? You've been singing his praises for weeks. He was stellar, Illinois' leading scorer again in this game.
Yeah, that dude's just he's taken a step too, where it's I think that he's been very aggressive, realizing that he can kind of get in that in between area as well. It doesn't just have to launch threes. And also like showing some other things, showing some defensive chops at times. Like I said, he had that big steal late where he kind of dug down on TKR. He's getting to the hoop. He's rebounding a little bit. Didn't rebound as well in this game, but did have 4 assists in this basketball game as well. I just think that he has taken another step that we thought would come. Maybe scoring wise, I didn't really think the other stuff would come along like it has, but it's been impressive to see what he's done kind of late in Big Ten play here.
Yeah. Yeah, he is it fair to say he's doing his own version of what Jace Richardson's doing?
Kind of, yeah.
He's been put into the starting lineup finally.
Hmm.
And since entering the starting lineup, I think he's been their best player.
Yeah,
And we would not have said even in like January when Kasparis was struggling, like we would have shut down the idea for a second that Kasparis just isn't the do everything guy.
yeah,
But I think it's better for this team right now because it sounds crazy to say on a night where he hit the big shot. I don't really love what I'm seeing from Kasparis right now. You know?
yeah, yeah. No, I think that you can make an argument that Will Riley's been the Illini's best player.
Yeah. which I think could be a good thing for them if that's what this holds up as down the stretch run of the season, right?
Yeah, like maybe have him be the best, but like in the big moment, you get step back yak.
Yeah,
You get your yak showing a step back, but like this is, we're Kasparis takes 10 shots in this game. I mean, you get 14 from O'Reilly, you get 10 from a Visage. So just a little bit more like other guys stepping up and getting theirs, I guess.
I think you saw at times this season the burden of needing to go get 20 a night wear down Kasparis. And he's done it enough that you don't doubt that he's capable. But like just look through Big Ten play since he returned from injury. 21 points against Indiana, 3 against Michigan State, 21 against Maryland, 11 against Northwestern, 18 against Nebraska, 8 against Ohio State, 7 against Rutgers. Like you get what I'm saying? He's been in single figures nearly as much as he's been like above 15 points. So it's going to be inconsistent if you're looking for that type of scoring output from Kasparis. When Will Riley's doing this, you don't need it from Kasparis. Kasparis can just pick his spots and be the guy that gets other guys shots and plays off cutters. And I don't know. I think it works. I think it is what is working for Illinois in this run of 3 straight games where they had 2 blowout wins and then a decisive home victory over Purdue late. To me, it's because Kasparis has just been able to facilitate and not need to be the superstar first option too. When you have somebody else doing that, it makes his life easier. I'm going to throw a crazy comp at you and see how you feel about this. Aaron Harrison,
For Kasparis?
hear me out on this. Not necessarily how they play, but hear me out on this. That Kentucky team would not have been what it was if they were looking for Aaron Harrison to be the guy for 40 minutes every game.
Hmm.
You wanted other guys to sort of carry the bulk of this team. And then, oh, by the way, we're tied with a minute left. It's my time. And there's nobody in the country you want more than that guy. That's sort of how I feel about Kasparis right now. Like 39 minutes, just make the high IQ play. Don't worry about pressing. Don't worry about trying to get to the line. Nothing like that. Just make the smart play. Let Will score. Let Trey White cut. Feed Big T. And then all of a sudden we're tied. It's Kasparis time. It's step back yak time.
Okay, I kind of like that. I kind of like that, and it gives the opportunity for, like you said too, for Kasparis to just be this guy that gets other people involved, and they just took care of the ball. I mean, they had 20 assists in this basketball game.
Yeah.
Colin Boswell had 5, Kasparis had 7, Will Riley had 4, even Big T chipped in 3 in this game, and they took care of the basketball. That's a massive. Colin Boswell had no turnovers in this game, and Kasparis only had 2. So that I think they really did the right things, pulled the right strings in this game, and I don't know if Brad actually said this or made this a point or staff made this a point, but you can like somewhat wear this Purdue team down, I guess. Like this, it's not what has happened all year, but in a lot of Purdue's losses, it seems to me that they are winning the game and then they get to the second half and they can't get stops.
Yeah.
Now they did get stops for a good portion of this game, but like once again, this is another game where Illini almost scored 50 second half points.
Right.
So it's something they need to maybe. I don't know if Illinois pointed that out going into this game or what, but for all the critics of Brad and his in-game adjustments, this was one where he should get credit because I did think he pulled the right strings.
Yeah. Yeah. It ended up, again, I thought Paint was destroying Underwood head to head for 30 minutes and then Underwood flipped the script. Honestly, great metaphor. I just landed on this. I thought Braden was destroying Illinois' guards and specifically outplaying Kasparis for 30 minutes. But at the end of the game, it became the story that Kasparis made the big plays late. That's sort of what I think his coach did too. I thought Paint had the better game plan, was consistently putting Purdue in better spots, and then Underwood made the big adjustment late, and now he became the story that he saved the day.
Yeah, and they got big. And look, just credit to Illinois too. Like as much as we want Purdue to maybe get stops or something like that, they also just had guys just step up and knock down shots. Like
Yeah.
Trey White stepped up big time in this game. He had a lot of big time threes in this game. You get 2 threes from Rickhouse as well in his 21 minute. Like they just got big time timely shots from a lot of guys, and then they got the most timely shot from step back Yakashonis, while on the other end Purdue didn't. They didn't capitalize.
Yeah. Um, yeah, five different guys hit two threes or more for Illinois. I feel like that's been incredibly rare this year. Is that all it is? Because I think Illinois believers would tell you that if this team makes shots, they're basically unbeatable.
I mean, I don't know because if this team does make shots to the clip that they did, there was also a good amount of Purdue missing shots down the stretch. Like I didn't think anything about the Purdue looks down the stretch were that bad.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to do honest analysis of this. Illinois shoots 37% from three. They will take that every single game. And I
Yeah.
think they will feel like if they shoot 37% from three, they can beat anyone.
Did they get to their 20-20-20?
They did get to 20, 27 twos, 33s, 25 free throws. I stand by this is the formula. Illinois will win games if they have a shot diet like that. Um, but yeah, my point is, I think Illinois will take that every single game. 37% is great. You'll feel like you can beat anybody when you do that. At the same time, Cart, they shot 37% from three. Purdue shot 27% from three. Respectfully to Purdue, Purdue's not the greatest team in college basketball right now. They've lost five of their last seven. Illinois shot it sizably better than them and was in a dogfight at home. My takeaway is not if this team makes shots, they're unbeatable. They almost outshot Purdue sizably and lost this game.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So
fair. It's fair to say. Obviously, in basketball, it comes down to make shots, miss shots, and Illinois was able to make more shots down the stretch than Purdue was. Um, but I don't know. I don't like. I think it's a good win for Illinois. And I'm trying to approach this in a way where I'm not taking away from it. Um, it's a good win. I don't think there should be conversations on like this Illinois team and what they can be when they hit shots.
okay.
Like teams are like basketball team better when basketball team hit shots. Crazy notion. Um, but I mean, for a good portion of this game, I think they started off this game like three for something from three. Like they were pretty good from three to start this game, and then they went on a stretch where they were like 0 for 13, and Purdue took the lead. Then they started making some shots, got back into it. Purdue missed shots. So like, it's a good win, one that's needed, one that feels good if you're an Illinois fan. I just don't think there needs to be like conversations about like, oh, Illinois, oh, they're back. Oh,
Yeah.
this like high ceiling Illinois. Like, no, it's a good basketball team. I don't think that those conversations need to occur though.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that. Yeah. That's a Sweeneyism. I know he loves that. Anytime Illinois wins a game and they shoot decent, he gets the tweet off about what their record is when they hit a certain clip from three. Uh yeah, I don't know. I don't know how accurate. Like obviously they're better when they make shots. This team's in the position they're in right now on the season at large because they have not made shots consistently. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. In this game, this specific result, the fact that they were in a tie game with a minute left on a game where they shot 10% better from three than Purdue is not a great data point towards like they can't lose when they make shots. Like
Yeah.
they very much almost did lose when they made shots in this game. And
Right.
it's still they got it done. I look really stupid and foolish in hindsight for this, but let me clown myself again. With 2 minutes left or a minute left, whatever it was, I tweeted the picture of what happened last time it was a tie game in this building. Braden Smith doing this. When I tweeted that, I certainly believed that Braden Smith was going to step up in the clutch and do that again. What were you thinking when this was a tie game with I think it was like a minute and a half left? Were you expecting Braden Smith to come night it again the way he did last year?
Yeah, I was. Especially given the looks he was getting. Yeah, I thought that it was gonna be what happened last year, and it ended up not being that at all. There was nothing but missed shots by Braden down the stretch there. And the missed shot turnover by TKR. It just it yeah, I truly thought that Braden was going to close this game out in that moment. And He had a chance to, just didn't.
Well, he had chances too.
Chance is, yeah, and he just didn't.
Yeah. What was it? Just missed shots. That's it.
Yeah,
Is
I
the
think so.
Illinois defense happy with the looks they gave Braden Smith?
I wouldn't be. I'm glad those didn't. I'd be happy they didn't go in, but that's not the looks I want to give up.
Yeah. Okay. They seem pretty open to me.
They were definitely fairly open.
Like they seem pretty similar to the looks he was hitting at the end of the Michigan game in Ann Arbor, where it's like he made three straight jumpers and all of a sudden it's a tie game late. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, no, I think it was the looks were good. I just thought he missed.
Okay. Flip side, is Purdue happy with the way they guarded Kasparis' clutch shot? Looked like they got Caleb Furst on a switch. It was a good contest. It was
Yeah,
not an easy shot,
I think you're fine with that.
but so is Illinois.
Oh,
They got exactly
Illinois is
that.
definitely fine with that. But I don't know what you change in that situation. I guess.
Just try to get the ball out of Kasparis' hands, maybe. But
Yeah, I mean it's a tough. It was a tough shot. It was a good look.
so basically, if you're defending Illinois at this point in the season in a tie game late, you are okay with letting Kasparis basically decide the game with a tough shot.
I'd
That's
much
that's the
rather the
number one thing
ball.
I would not want to happen.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'd much rather now that you're talking through it with me, I'd much rather the ball be in someone else's hands. Yes.
Okay. Which is easier said than done. 'Cause you would have had to like run two guys at him or something. But I feel like Kasparis has enough clutch history at this point that like don't let that guy get a shot off.
That's true. Or make them drive or something. Get a ball. And here's the one thing I'll be critical of. You know what shot's coming in that spot.
Right.
The one thing I can be critical of first is I'm crowding him right there.
Right.
Like the minute I switch on to Kasparis, I'm like, okay, he might get past me, but I know he's about to try to do this little step back three. He's done it. He goes to it every single time he gets. He's for sure going to it in this spot.
Yeah. Yeah. He is truly fearless, right? That's the one thing you will say about step back yak is Brad called this out in November, but like there just aren't many players that play in this sport that want the moment more than Kasparis.
Yeah,
Whether or not it goes right or wrong, like that dude just he loves tie game, me time.
and there's something to be said about that. That is a positive.
Yeah, 100%. Um, I got a couple quick hitters on both sides for players that we can get to, starting with this. Merez Johnson was still out for this game. He did not play. As you noted, Trey White has been incredible in the last two games. He is a Ken Pom MVP in back-to-back performances. He had 19 and 11 against Michigan. I was at that game in person. He was flying around. He was everywhere. In this game, he had 20 points, 9 rebounds, an assist, and a block. He's hit three threes in back-to-back games. You want to talk about shot making? Trey White has made 8 of his last 13 threes in this 3 game win streak. That's something they haven't gotten from anyone this season other than that hot Will Riley stretch. And Trey White is not supposed to be a shooter like that. Right now, he is making shots and it looks good, and he's doing a lot more than that. Uh, Look, everyone on Illinois has been sick, including apparently Kasparis right now. That's what Brad said after the game. Trey White was in and out of the lineup due to injury slash illness earlier this season. But on the tail end of that, the other thing that had happened was Merez took the spot in the starting lineup. Illinois was very happy with the way Merez was playing. And when Trey White did get cleared to return, he didn't return. Brad Underwood told the media multiple times, hey, yeah, right now we're just going with other guys. Trey's got to get back involved, but right now we're just going with other guys. Wasn't just, hey, Trey's out because he's sick. They went to Merez and not Trey White. That is a thing that happened, and then Merez got hurt. Merez is supposedly getting cleared here soon. He will play again in an Illinois uniform before this season ends. What do you do with him?
I mean, you got to bring him off the bench. I think you bring him off the bench and maybe cutting the Rickhouse minutes. Like he played 21 minutes in this game, and maybe just have Merez. maybe situationally go two bigs, or just have Perez be the backup five to Big T.
Basically, Merez back in the role he was in at the very beginning of the season.
I think so. I think that's the right way to go about it. I don't think you can mess with what's going on right now.
I mean, these last couple games, Will Riley has started three straight games. He's played 36 minutes or more in all three. It's the first time he's done that. Trey White has started five games since his last did not play. He played 32 and 35 minutes in their two most recent games. I mean, it is not a stretch to say, not only are these guys playing and playing well, they are just being given more leash than they have been given all season long. And
Mhm.
they are playing confident, and it is helping Illinois right now. But I'm pretty terrified Brad's going to mess this up, Cart.
I'm a little bit afraid of it too, but I think in an ideal world, you bring Mraz off the bench, kind of what he was doing earlier in the season, and you let these guys rock in the current form that they're in. And look, if it's not going well, then you have that as a pivot, right? You can distribute Mraz. You can, like I said, if you need to situationally play him at the four, if you want to play him as five, there's different things you can do given on how the game is kind of going. But that would also entail that you are trusting Brad to make in-game adjustments. But with that said, I just don't think you can move away from what this starting lineup's giving you right now.
Maybe we should give a little more faith to him because I do think while he may not be awesome at in-game adjustments historically, he's been pretty awesome at in-season adjustments.
Hmm.
Like if he changes the identity of a team, normally it is something to benefit the team. But yeah, I am just fearful they're going to try and force Merez back into a pretty large role at the expense of Riley or Trey White. I don't think it's a coincidence that Riley and White suddenly look awesome since Merez went away. It just is what it is. They're playing small. They're letting Will Riley rock, and these guys are delivering great performances right now. You can't change it at this point. It'll be very interesting to see how they try to work him back in. There are a lot of small things that happen with players in this game, specifically a lot of Illinois players in the post game. Want to talk through some of them. I think we're going to do a whole separate video on Kylan because you actually exchanged some words with Kylan Boswell this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in the preview, I said that Braden Smith would cook them. It's gonna be over. It's stuck on green, and Kylan correctly tagged me in the video and posted on his story and basically said temperature check, and I was like, touche, touche. That's very well done. I take that one on the chin. We had a little back and forth about it, but it was all love at the end of it. But
Let's do more
uh,
details on that because I want to pull that out into a separate combo and just address Kylan in the post game app because it wasn't just you. He was coming after receipts of other people too, which
yeah,
made waves.
yeah, but yeah,
Good on you.
good on you. Good execution. Good execution by you. I will say this: I did not like the notion that I think a certain section of Purdue fans was doing the whole like Illinois celebrating this like it's a Super Bowl type thing. I think we might have to go into 2026 without the term Super Bowl.
Is
I
that our
I
new refs thing? Like instead of refs are great,
Yeah.
no
And
more
and
Super
and
Bowls.
it's and I'm only bringing this up because it's everybody. I think every fan base does this whole, oh, this is your, oh, they're treating it like a Super Bowl. No, they're treating it like they want to win a basketball game.
Yeah,
You want to beat good teams. You want to beat teams that have beat you. You want to beat teams that have beat you at your home. Like you're going to get excited about that. You should be doing that. Retire the Super Bowl term in 2026, please.
yeah. I think this is my stance in general with all sort of college sports, but all things. Caring is cool. It is not a bad thing to care more than your opponent. That is something I wish my team always did. That is something I think your program does impeccably well, Cart.
Hmm?
Your team cares more than anyone they play every single game this year. And to come out of it, yeah, just kind of it's like excusing not caring. Oh, this isn't our Super Bowl, it's yours. Like it's arrogant in implication in the first place. So yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I don't like that term, and I think it's dumb. It's cool to care about your wins or losses or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Love caring.
Caring is great. We love caring. One more Illinois player one, then I got some Purdue specific stuff. You mentioned, as he should, with Kylan, you loved his behavior post game. Did you love Dre Gibbs Lawhorn and family's behavior post game? Obviously, this game means a lot to the Gibbs Lawhorns. He was at once a Purdue commit. And in this game, DGL himself played 8 minutes off the bench. He was 0 for 1 from the floor with one turnover, zero rebounds, zero assists, zero blocks, zero steals, and a foul. And then a lot of ha 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 ha's on Twitter after the game at Purdue's expense.
Yeah, look, there's probably been some things that have been said to GGL that we haven't seen, and that honestly I've seen a couple things that have been said to him from the Purdue fan base, given the history between the player and the school. So look, you do get the win over them. Send out a little trolley, haha, talk your shit. Um, Mom shirt was crazy. I'm just gonna go out there and say that right away. Wild thing. But outside of that, I mean, you also really didn't do much. So like it comes from a bad spot. I get it, but I'm on the fence about it because you didn't do anything really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your team won, so talk your shit, but you didn't do anything.
The way they are celebrating the win does not help them in the Super Bowl allegations. Now again, I'm pro care about it, but like there are a lot of post win like haha got yous that just you don't see often from players to another fan base or program.
That there is some truth to that, yeah.
Yeah. This seems like an official rivalry now, kind of.
I mean, look, it kind of should be. I mean, this Big Ten conference, the last 5 years, has come down to these two schools, and then Wisconsin out of nowhere. But like,
Well,
it's
four of the last five.
for the last five. Yeah,
Yeah.
not this year, but before this year.
Yeah. I'd
So
be okay. I'd be okay if we just call this a rivalry from now on.
I'd be
Illinois
fine.
also like needs real rivals.
Yeah, well, that I don't think Purdue would accept this rivalry.
You don't think so?
They don't want this rivalry.
Purdue does love to make everything Purdue-y though, you
They
know?
do, but like they're good. Like they got Indiana. They got like other. Do they have another rival? Like, is Michigan State a rival of
No,
Purdue? No,
just
just
Purdue,
Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah, you got Purdue, Indiana.
That's
You
fine.
got,
I think this could be a secondary rivalry though for Purdue, and then Illinois could make this their first rivalry if they want to.
how many rivalries is too many rivalries?
I think two's the acceptable number. Like
It's
do the
acceptable.
Michigan, you can have Michigan State and Ohio State.
Okay, got you. I mean, all right, so yeah, maybe add this.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate this if this added, but
But
just
Illinois has too many rivals.
I think that's because they don't have enough rivals. They
Okay,
have
so
Missouri and Iowa, but like really,
yeah, we need to shift their two rivalries to somebody else.
I'm okay with Missouri staying. Let's just replace the Iowa rivalry with Purdue.
That makes sense.
I
What
think
about
that works
Michigan?
right now.
What about the
Okay,
Michigan Illinois rivalry?
that's not a rivalry. That's a get the leash out.
Ah.
I'll go for an hour-long stroll. Papa, what do you need? Uh, okay, quick hitters on the Purdue side. Did the Purdue role players do enough to win this game? Yes or no?
My initial answer is no. Am I being harsh?
You got 7 points, 5 rebounds from CJ Cox in 24 minutes. You got 8 points in 13 minutes from Jakari Harris. That's more than you usually get from those two. Quiet
Yeah, but
nights
you
from Heidi and Colvin, but
right. Yeah, if you could have got more from Heidi and Colvin, I would have said yes. But also the same token, I think you're happy with you get 15 combined from Cox and Jakari Harris.
yeah, I think my answer is yes. I think the Purdue role players did their job. And then my follow-up question was going to be, did the Purdue Stars do enough to win this game? Because the game was in their Stars' hands to decide the game. The role players got them to that point.
They did enough for 35 minutes. 30 minutes. Not the last 10.
Which is tough. They all ended up with pretty stellar lines. TKR and Braden were spectacular, but
Mhm.
I still come away being like, damn, they were a couple plays short of what they needed to be.
It's not enough.
There's a lot of pressure on those two.
Yeah. I mean, you did look, and for better or for worse, it comes down to that. And if you're a Purdue fan, if you're Matt Painter, it came down to the ball being in Braden Smith's hands and he didn't make the shots.
Yeah.
So you feel good about that. That's where you want to be. I bet Braden makes those shots. I was shocked that he did miss because I thought they were great looks. But that's basketball.
Do you think it's just fatigue? Do you think fatigue was only part of it and it was just like bad luck, missed shot?
I think it's part of it. But I think it's also somewhat can be used as a crutch. I just also think he just didn't make the shots.
Yeah. I 100% buy that at the end of games Braden is gassed. But I also think he's had gassed moments where he's made these shots.
Yeah,
Like I don't think it's like a cover up excuses it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I feel the same way.
Would you like to apologize?
Apologize.
Sick your shit.
Huh?
Sick your shit.
What'd I do?
I'll tell you exactly what you did, my friend.
What?
Let me find it.
What did I do? Did I tweet something?
Let me find it.
Wait, what did I do?
8:50 p.m. Eastern. I get a text.
Oh,
Braden effing these dudes up. I emphasize it. 42 minutes later, 9:32 p.m. Eastern, with about 10 minutes left in this game. Sorry, but triple double watch. I don't respond because you know that I've complained about this every time a human being has done this all season long. Normally, it's all the Purdue accounts who tweet, "Don't look now, but two things away." He needed one rebound with 9 minutes left in the game. You text that it's triple double watch. He doesn't get another rebound. I responded 10 minutes later to your text and said, huge Illinois run since this and zero from Braden. Braden literally didn't make a play again after you sent that text. Would you like to apologize?
I got cocky with them being one rebound short. Like typically the tweet gets sent out when he's got like 14, 6, and 7. I thought I was safe with 10 minutes left and only needing the board. That's on me. I need to be better. I take that is 100% on me. And I apologize for that. It was my fault.
And it wasn't just that he didn't get a rebound, he was then terrible down the stretch. Like
Yeah.
everything stopped working for
So
Braden.
it's not fatigue, it's really me.
I think it's 60% you, 20% fatigue, 20% bad luck.
I'll own that.
Okay, good. Caleb Furst, 23 points, or Jesus, 23 minutes, excuse me. How many games in a row would we need to combine to see Caleb Furst with 23 points? Let me just make sure I pull that. 4, 7, 12, 17. If you combine Caleb Furst's last 8 games, he has totaled more than 23 points. We're not doing that. He played 23 minutes in this game. He had 0 points on 1 shot attempt from the floor. He had 3 rebounds and 2 assists and 3 fouls. He was minus 19 in 23 minutes of play in a game that you lose by 8, while going for 0 points and 3 rebounds in those 23 minutes that you went minus 19 for. He's gotten a lot of credit this season for Purdue's quote unquote turnaround in Big Ten play. We praised him very pointedly on the Purdue Senior Day video because he does stand for a lot of things that are special about Purdue basketball. He was unplayable in this game. He just couldn't play. He wasn't good enough, wasn't big enough, was not good enough to provide any resistance or contribute in a game against Thomas Ivicic and the Illinois front court. Am I being unfair on what you saw from Furst? And should this be concerning to Purdue fans as postseason play arrives?
Um, there's a reason why Caleb Furst didn't play as much as he played last year. Um, and there's a reason why obviously he plays what he plays this year, and it's more of like a need thing. But here's where I'm at with it. It's Caleb Furst. This is this is Caleb Furst. I don't think it's fair to expect more rebounds. Like that's what you can expect. But outside of that, this is who he is. For the defensive credit that Caleb Furst gets, and I do agree that him getting put into that lineup did change some things for this team. Caleb Furst doesn't block shots. Caleb Furst is not an offensive threat. Caleb Furst is just not that great defensively. He gets a lot of credit for being great, but he's just not that great defensively because he's Caleb Furst. So it's I don't know. He is what he is. He's got more fouls than points in this losing streak. So that's who Caleb Furst is.
So last 6 games, they're 2-4 in that stretch. This cuts out the Michigan game where Furst was solid, I would say. Since then, Wisconsin lost, Michigan State lost, Indiana lost, UCLA win, Rutgers win, Illinois loss. Caleb Furst is averaging 2.0 points per game, 3.1 rebounds per game in 23 minutes per game. He's giving you 2 and 3 while being your starting 5 and playing 23 minutes a game.
And not providing defensive resistance either.
Right.
Against normal front courts.
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of celebrating Furst during the win streak in January. It feels to me like something's either been figured out with him or he's just hit a wall. I don't know that he can give you more than this right now.
And a guy that's giving you 20 minutes a game, like you said, is giving you 2 and 3.
I mean, those are Will Berg numbers, Cart. Like,
yeah,
he's mini Will Berg. For the last 6 games, that's what he's been.
Ooh.
Like, it's not like the Purdue defense has been good in this lose streak. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's not an alternative, right? You just have to keep playing him unless you go small and try and play Jakari more with TKR at the 5.
And maybe they want to do that and even play like Heidi at the 4, but Heidi fouled out in 17 minutes.
Right.
And Heidi is Heidi.
Yeah, so you have to keep playing Furst, but his caliber has dipped significantly here down the stretch of the season.
It's bad.
He's kind of done the big man version of Michigan Trey Donaldson, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, that's very, very
comparable. All right, last question. Are you trying to buy stock of either of these teams coming into March?
No, I'm just good where I'm at with both teams.
Okay. Won't be surprised if they make a run, but
could also not win a game.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I'm very draw dependent for me with both. I'm not doubting them, but I'm not like rushing to buy them.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Congrats to Illinois. Really entertaining game.